and she looked at my new, my reconfigured penis.
Yeah.
And she looked, because it's not a vagina. Let's just say that right there. It's a reconfigured penis.
Right on.
Okay? It's not a vagina, people. Call it what you want. But I've done biology. I was very good at school.
Right on,
paid
biology.
attention, you know. So I listened, paid attention. So you can't talk me out of biology. You can't talk me down.
No.
Yeah,
No.
you can't talk me down.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. You all know Samantha from other podcasts that she's done, and I've been trying to get her on. As you know, I tried to get a live going. It just technically didn't work, so I think the universe wanted us to do this. So today I'm bringing Samantha on, but before we do that, thanks for liking, subscribing, getting this out there to people who need to see it, and I think the conversation is going to be very powerful to help really the insanity that's going on today. So with that, oh my God, Samantha.
But it's so nice to see you and speak to you. And I just want to give a big apology to everybody out there for the other night. And thank you all for your patience. Yeah. Because this IT stuff, it's very hard to get your head around a little bit. I thought I was okay with it. But it's all going to be good. It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good.
But it's good to be here. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
But today you've had me on to talk a little bit about my life. Yes. So I am going to start from my first experience going to a gay club. So I was
great.
Right. So I was age 16,
okay,
and I went to an area in London. It was called Streatham, and it was a gay club called Palm Beach, and it was above the ice rink. And it was very kitsch, all like palm trees and stuff. So I that was my first experience, and then I went on to just float about a little bit on the gay scene. I was very, I kept it to myself. I was very private. Obviously, you don't want nobody to know about this stuff. Yeah. So I was floating about on my own. I've always been on the periphery. I've never belonged to any groups. I've always been on the periphery. That's just how I've rolled. So I floated about, and then, what was it, 1992, I was 21, and I met the love of my life.
Oh, sweet.
To this day, the love of my life. Oh. But if I'd met him... I think about him so much, Buck. And I think if I'd met him, I wish I'd met him as a woman. But he was gay man. But anyway, he was the love of my life. Met him, and then and then I met him, and then I came out to my parents.
Wow.
Yes, I came out to my parents. He was living above a pub in London.
Okay.
And my mother was also working there.
Oh, at the pub.
At the pub.
Wow.
And he was the head chef, and he was from New Zealand. And I'll never forget it. I was in the grill area, and I bent down and I was doing turning up my trousers, and I looked up, and he was standing right in front of me in the grill area. And I don't know what it was, but the only way I can explain it to you was the air began to fizz.
Wow.
And I looked up, and time stood still for a moment.
Oh, wow.
And I think that was true love.
Oh, totally. Totally.
Yeah, I felt it. So, love of my life, but it was the wrong time, the right man, but the wrong time.
Well, what happened? Did you guys get together?
Well, we did. We got together. We were dating very secretly, and very secretly.
Was he not openly gay, or?
I don't know. I didn't really question it because I was just working there. Because I was a trainee paralegal during the day.
Okay.
And I was a dessert chef at the pub in the evenings. That's how we met.
Wow.
And so we started dating. He asked me out on a date, and we dated secretly. And then we had a conversation one night, and he said to me, "Maybe you should come out to your parents." And he said, "I'm here if you need me." So I went home that night, and I came out to my mum. And my mother said to me, "I know what you're going to say, but I need to hear it from you." And we sat on the bed, and I told her I was gay, and she said, "Okay, leave it with me. I'll tell your father." And but she said, "I got 2 words of advice." She said, "Don't be on your own in a room with small children, and keep your name out of the papers."
Good advice.
which, right? But at that time, bearing in mind, if you go back a little bit from the podcast, which I'm sure you'll leave a link below.
Of course.
Right? If you look at that podcast, you'll see a little bit of my history of my sexual abuse. But those words will link and it will make sense because that affected me. Because after those words were said to me, I could never have any of my nieces or nephews touch me.
Well, yeah, that's totally your history also of the trauma and the sexual abuse and all of that, which is so sad. It just makes me sad. You know how many people I know that have had that happen to them? So many people. It's so insane how many kids deal with sexual abuse. It's unbelievable to me.
It's like a pandemic.
It actually is, but it's something we never talk about. We just don't talk about it. Even YouTube doesn't want you to talk about it. They make you say SA, or you're not allowed to say these words. And I'm like, what? We need to have this conversation. It's like
important.
It's trauma that keeps being pushed back, generational.
Yeah.
It keeps just going. Unless you actually put an end to it, it's just going to keep going. So anyway, yeah, that's over there. So, yeah.
So, I'd also bandied around, and this goes back to the podcast. I said about children, you should never keep saying in front of children, the abused becomes the abuser. Because if that child hears and they've been abused, it's going to affect them psychologically. Because I was never that way, but it destroyed any relation. I mean, even to this day, I don't have any close connections with my nieces or nephews, but that is changing because of the podcast that I did with Liam.
Excellent.
Right?
Excellent.
My two nieces sent messages to their dad saying we've seen Samantha and we have so much respect for her.
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh my God.
And we have and we didn't know her story. And my brothers have said, listen, we want you in the family, you're part of the family, and you need to come together as a unit and see the kids.
Wow.
So it's happening. My family are coming back together, but we're getting tighter again. Our family bond is so strong now, you can't break it, but it's unbreakable.
You see how that happens? I swear, sometimes you just have to go through shit, and then eventually when you grow up, and also you're living really truthfully in your space, okay? And I think that really does speak volumes to people. They see you. They're like, okay, Samantha, very strong, very stable. You're not out there on the streets shooting drugs and acting insane. You're literally a stable human being, and I think that people respect that. That's why you're so important in this conversation, because people need to see stability, transsexual people like yourself, and all the crap you went through to get where you are. I'm not saying you should have gone through it, but I do think on some level it builds, if that makes sense, it has built you into this very strong, powerful woman.
Thank you, Buck.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a conversation with my brother the other night, and he said to me a very, very similar thing. You know, I've gone through all of this, and I said to him, you know, I may have gone through a lot, but I wouldn't be the person today if I hadn't gone through that, as terrible as it was. But I'm a survivor, Buck.
You 100% are.
Right, and I feel like Teflon. Nothing sticks anymore because I've reached that. Right, I've reached that don't give a fuck stage because
it's the best.
Don't give a fuck, because that comes with age and experience. And if you don't go through all of this, you won't become to this point of total acceptance.
That's right, total acceptance.
Total acceptance of who you are. And I've got to tell you, I love myself today.
Oh, I know, I can feel it. Across the pond where we are, I can feel your complete, total love for yourself. It gives me chills, and it's so powerful. And you are so, I hate this word, but I'm going to use it, authentic. I hate it. They've fucked it all up. But it really comes across. From the first interview I saw with Liam to now and to our many conversations on the phone, it just comes across that you are literally, I think we're very in alignment. We're like, we don't give a fuck. This is who we are. And that's why I think a lot of people respect you and I. So now you came out to your mom, okay? And then what happens from there?
Well, I came out to my mum. She said those words of advice, and I got in the bath. I had a bath, and it was daylight, Buck. And then the next thing I know, I'm in the bath, hugging my knees, and the next thing I know, I look up, and it's dark in the bathroom. I don't know what happened. Hugging, and I'm all like prune-like. I don't know. I suppose I was in a I don't know. I internalized in the bath. I don't know what happened in those few hours. I just sat in that bath, and then I got out the bath, and I packed my stuff, and I moved out that night. And I moved in above the pub with my boyfriend.
Right on.
But that did not go down well with my family. It did not go down well.
No.
And even years later, my dad mentioned it. He said to me that we weren't very happy that happened. And I do something, and I know as hard as it is for family, I get it.
Of course.
But at the same time, I've always often said, I wish they could think what it's like for us.
Yeah.
Because it's always like, oh, look what you've done to the family, look what you've done to us.
That's right.
And I'm like, wait a fucking second. Do you not for 1 minute think how hard that was for me to come up there and sit on that bed with you and tell you my deepest, darkest, right, at 21 years of age.
That's right.
And I know kids do it sooner, and kudos to them, and it takes a lot to say that. But I think people need to recognise and stop making it about themselves and think about the children that's telling you this, right? Stop being so fucking selfish. Sorry to swear, but stop being selfish.
No, you're right. You're really right about that. That's a great statement, because I do think people forget that. It's not, I know, oh, what about the neighbors, right? I got the same thing. What about the neighbors? They're going to freak out because we have a lesbian daughter who's completely bald and has tattoos and period. They're always concerned about what people reflect. So I think that's a really great message to parents out there. I think people have changed. I do, especially when it comes to gay kids.
100%.
Or even trans kids, which you and I both don't agree with. But that being said, I know, I totally agree. I think that's a really great, powerful statement. So, thank you.
So then Tony and I moved in together. It was great. He's the only man in my life that I've ever cried when I've been made love to, Buck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Pure love. Yeah.
Even now, I think about that night to this day.
Yeah.
And I've got a little special spark in my heart that always burns brightly, Yeah. And I hold on to that sometimes, because I'm alone. I've been on my own since 2010. Whoop-de-doo.
Wow.
But I knew what I was getting myself into, Buck, so that's why I'm okay with it. But anyway, on with the story, right? So then we moved in together above the pub, and then he says to me, let's get a flat together, an apartment. And we went to see a house with his brother. We went into the house, we went upstairs into the bedroom, and he said, this will be our bedroom. And I had a panic attack.
Okay.
I couldn't breathe. And I left the house, and I ran away. And that was really hard, because it was all happened so fast. And I was like, come back to my parents, we've above the house with him, my mum works there, I've got all this stuff going on in my head. It was like too fast, and I was, sorry, tears sting my eyes a little bit, because even today I'm still in love with him, Buck.
Oh no, I can feel it. And also, please cry, because I think it's very powerful. You're making me want to cry. Everybody knows me; I'm the biggest crybaby. But that being said, because I feel your really intense love for this person, but at the same time, I can also understand that being 21 years old and making all of these massive changes in your life are very difficult to do. And then moving in with somebody that's the first time you ever left your house and moved in with somebody. I mean, it's like a very big step in everyone's life when you leave the family and move to your own space. It's very scary. I remember that same feeling. So you started having a panic attack, and then what happened?
And I left. I left, and I got my own place. He got his place, and then I was going out, getting drunk, knocking on his window. We became buck buddies, which I didn't want. And then next thing that happened, I left. I left my job. I sold everything, and I got a one-way ticket to Athens on the 3rd of May, 1993.
Wow.
Sold everything. Went. I just thought, I got a backpack, I put all my stuff in it, and I flew to Athens. And this is a whole nother story. I could write a whole book on what happened in Greece. I had the time of my life, Mark. Time of my life.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine.
Listen, you can't believe what island I ended up on. Mykonos.
No, the best.
I did.
The best
Fuck.
island.
I did the whole season there.
Oh my God. Amazing.
I had the
Amazing.
best time.
Wow.
Yeah, so I ended up in Greece. Best time. And then I ran out of money. And I came back.
Okay.
And I was floating around. And then I met somebody else when I came back. And then I wasn't happy with this person. But they had, I'm not going to lie, they had money.
Yeah, totally.
They had money, and I basically how we met. It wasn't someone I would be ordinarily attracted to, but I think I was in the space where I needed to be loved. And I went to this pub, gay pub, and I got very drunk. And the owner of the bar, at that time I'd come back from Greece. I was a size 26 waist. I was very slim.
Wow.
I'd gone right down in weight because I'd gone right down, and then I got very drunk that night, and he did. He picked me up from the bar, they told me, and he carried me downstairs, and he put a coats over me, and he dropped me home. When I sobered up, they cashed up and everything. And he started looking after me, and he looked after me for a while. But then because I was still, even though I'd met him, I just met him, I was still very unhappy. And then 1993, end of that year, 31st of December, my parents had a party, and I heard somebody running homosexuals down. And I went upstairs, I know, Buck, and I went upstairs, I had a few drinks, I was very drunk, and I ended up my wrists.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Were you at your parents' house at the party and someone said that? And did that trigger something in your brain, you think?
Yeah, I was drunk. I was going through a lot. I wasn't happy. I was still in love with this guy. Who I was trying to get rid of in my head.
Right.
So I wrists.
Oh no.
So the party ended before midnight. I'm such a party pooper, Buck. Such a party killer. I'm a party killer.
Oh my God.
So there was no like chimes that night. It was all at the hospital. And the drama gets even better because that night I've gone to the hospital. I'm getting my wrists sewn up by the nurse, and the nurse said to me, next time you do it up, because that way we can't save you.
The nurse told you?
The nurse told me that while she was stitching my wrists up on New Year's Eve.
I mean, I don't even know what to think about that, other than that, what? That person should never be working medical ever. Do you think they said that to you because they were homophobic and they maybe wanted you to be...
I don't know what she was thinking, Buck.
That is the most insane thing ever for a medical professional.
Right.
Oh my God. I'm just like, wow, holy crap. I'm so disgusted right now.
Right? That was what? I was 21.
Yeah, my feeling is she was homophobic.
Yeah, there's something going on there with her. But so she's sewing my wrist up, and then all of a sudden, the curtain behind me goes back, and there's my mother standing there with a peach negligee on, her peach satin robe, floor to floor, with her peach satin mules, mascara all down her face. She'd had her stomach pumped, Buck, because my mum went upstairs, took a dose, and said, my son's not dying alone.
Oh my God, this is tragic. Holy shit. Well, because your mother loves you, and I think I don't know I'm not a therapist, but there's obviously something going on.
My mother and I were like that, Buck.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
My brother even said the other night, we had a conversation on the phone sitting on my couch, and he said to me, even though you was mum's favourite, I was never jealous.
Oh, wow.
He said, in fact, I quite liked you, your mum's favourite.
Oh, that's so sweet, actually. Your brother sounds so sweet. Did you have a relationship with them at this time, or was it not?
I think... Well, actually, that night, and my brother told me this, that night I was in the bath, my mum was holding my wrists up like that.
Oh, my God.
Above my head. And I remember some family, everybody came in the bathroom, and all of a sudden my brother leant over me, and over my mother, and he punched me in the side of the head while my mother was holding my wrists.
Because maybe he wanted to wake you up or something.
That same brother who said that to me. Do you know why he did it, Buck? He told me. Because we chatted about it recently. He said, the reason I did that, and I'm sorry that I did it, it was because I had my babies in Mum's bedroom. They were asleep. My kids. I didn't know, Buck. I didn't know the kids were there because I was drunk.
Of course not.
Would I have done that if I'd known? Probably not. But I didn't know the kids were there.
That's here or there.
It's here or there. But so that happened.
Yeah.
And then I just floated around for a while, and I dated some wealthy men. I was.
Did you and your mother ever discuss this situation ever after that happened, or was it sort of like not talked about?
Well, actually, that night when we got home, going back to that, when we got home, we all sat around the kitchen table, and my mum said, "Right, no one's going to bed until we talk about this because you nearly lost your brother tonight."
Oh wow!
All of us, and we all sat around the round table in the kitchen.
Oh wow!
And I can't even remember what we spoke about, Buck. But my mum said that we did it, and we sat there, and so we just moved on. I floated through life, and then. Yeah, I dated a few wealthy men.
Were you drinking a lot still at this time? Or?
I was drinking, self-medicating.
Yeah.
Floating about various sexual partners, just basically you know how it is. And then in 1999, I met another partner.
Okay.
We stayed together for 2 years. We moved in together. And this was the person that I actually apologised to on the podcast.
Oh.
Now, I'm never going to go into details about what happened, ever, because that is between him and I.
That's right.
He knows who he is. The first name I mentioned, I will never mention anything else. But I hurt that man deeply and his family. So I will again say sorry to Matt. I am so sorry for what happened. He got sucked into my life, and it was horrible for him. And then in 2001, I met somebody else.
Okay.
We had a relationship for 2 years, moved in together.
Right.
But all this time, Buck, like I said before, I've always been making love in my head as a woman.
Oh, right.
All through my from 16, all the way through this period, I'm making love in my head as a woman.
Right.
Crying when I'm being made love to by Tony. And then, then we split up with him, and then what was it? I floated about again for a while, and then I was just floating about. I was lost, Buck.
Of course.
I never forget. I forget that one night I was. Where was I? I was in a gay club in Clapham, and it was called Two Brewers. Everyone knows it. It's quite famous, and that's where we used to knock about. And I never forget being in there, and I had all my friends around me. I was with my boyfriend, and I felt so lonely, Buck.
Yep.
So lonely.
Yep.
I was just lost, and I thought, why? I've got it all. I've got the flat. I've got the lovely garden. I didn't have a dog at the time. I've got the partner. I've got the job. And I was like, why aren't I happy? But I knew both why I wasn't happy. Well, I just didn't tell myself, because that's a stretch.
That's right.
It's a stretch, kids. It's a stretch to say you're transsexual. It's not as easy as it is today when you're saying you're trans. Saying you're transsexual is a whole different thing. So, stop playing games here, because this is real life. This is real life, and we're talking adult stuff here. And that's why I'm so anti-trans. It's not a thing. It's all made up. It's just wokey-dokey pokery. And like you say, what do you say? The pee-pie-poo-poo clan, Buck.
The pee-pee-poo-poos.
Get lost. The pee-pie-poo-poos. Get lost. I'm done with that. So, yeah.
It's so interesting, Samantha. I completely relate to you on so many levels. I was floating around, blah, 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 and I just knew something inside of me. Right. And, I was always sad, and I wanted to be this man, but you can't say that. You just can't say it to people. They will not understand what you're talking about.
No.
And, no, God, it's so weird. I just literally know what your head is thinking. I know it. And the sadness and the disconnect and the drinking and the trying to figure out what's wrong with me.
Yeah, you just float through life. So, so I was just floating through, and sorry, Buck, where was I?
So you're in the club, and you got everything, and you're just something's not happy, and
Yeah, my head's going 100 miles an hour. So
it's okay.
Yeah, so I'm in the club, and I'm standing there. So anyway, we split up. I split up from him.
Okay.
And then floated around. And then 2010 was the last time I had a relationship. It was very brief. And that's when I say I stopped practicing. I was a pro, Buck. I was a pro. I stopped practicing homosexuality, right? I was a pro, right? I'd done the work. I had a great time. I lived a life. And this is what I always say to the trans kids, right? You've got to go through your puberty. You've got to find where you swing, right, on the spectrum, because you're probably lesbian or gay. You're not trans.
That's right.
It's made up. There's homophobia going on here, but in a huge way. Huge homophobia going on here, and they're decimating the LGB community. The trans community does not even need to exist.
That's right.
It's hokey pokery, right? So, because then we start going down that road, don't we, Buck?
I know. Sick.
Right, so 2010 was the last time I kissed a guy, and then 2012, on the 5th of August, I finally had my breakdown.
Okay.
And I was hospitalised in a mental hospital.
Oh, no. Okay.
I thought it was for a week, but my father recently told me, no, it was 3.
Oh.
He said, because I came in to give you different clothes.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, Dad, I thought it was a week. He said, no, he's in there for about 3 weeks.
They had you on medication, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, they had me on meds. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember one time they came in and they were so horrible, Buck.
Yeah.
They were so horrible. I'm not going to go into that experience. Anyway, so I had the breakdown, and then I had a psychiatrist, and I'll never forget him, Dr. Neil Pearson. Thank you. Oh my God, he was a gift, Buck. And he told me to go out and get a dog.
Oh.
And I never listened to anyone in authority, Buck, but I had a new dog within 3 weeks. Within 3 weeks, I had a dog. She's asleep on the couch at the moment, so I won't introduce you. But she's the most beautiful thing that's ever happened in my life, apart from Tony. Yeah, best beautiful thing. So I got a dog, and then I had 3 years of therapy, Buck. DBT therapy. Right? And then during that time, I have realised, and I always say this, I shone a light so deep inside myself during those therapy sessions,
Great.
there was nowhere for me to hide, Buck.
Great.
Nowhere for me to hide.
Great.
I had my therapy, and there's light shining bright, and I'm like, okay, well, I can't avoid the spotlight here. Right? Right? So I finally admitted who I was. I admitted.
Yep.
I stood up in my lounge, and I'll never forget it, Buck. I was in my flat, and I sat on my couch, and I stood up in my living room, which sounds so dramatic, which is what I can be sometimes, I'm not going to lie. Because people said, oh, you're so dramatic, Samantha. But, so I stood up in my lounge, and I went, I'm transsexual. But when you say those words out loud, and you hear them for the first time yourself, on my own, Buck, I felt like I was being, for the first time in my life,
Wow.
I felt like all my neurons were connecting.
Wow.
All at the same time, and I felt like I was being hit with this like surges of energy, like bam, 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 going through my body. It was almost like, I can't explain it, and I just felt energized for the first time, accepting who I was, because I was hiding all those years.
How old were you at this time? Do you remember?
God, this was 2015. I'm 54 now. I'm not good with math.
Okay.
It's
No,
not my
me
strong
neither.
point.
But we got it. I got it.
Yeah. So 2015.
Yeah.
I admitted who I was. Told my dad who I was transsexual. Did you notice, Bob? I didn't say trans.
Thank you. That's why I love you. Thank you.
Right. I said
Transsexual.
to my father and my
Totally.
family, I was transsexual.
Totally.
Right, and I identified in what I would say as a woman, because there's only 2 genders, but right, let's not stop playing with games again, because we're tired, we're very tired here. Right?
Genius.
So boring.
That's so boring.
Where are the Z's? Where are the Z's, but put some Z's here, please. Z's, right? So admitted who I was, and then 2016, went to my doctor, got my referral to the GIC, Gender
Oh, wow.
Identity Clinic.
Yes, great.
2017 comes around, and I'm still living as a man.
Okay.
So this is important as well because I went to Brighton. I think it was actually July 2008. I went to Brighton. I'm going to go back a little bit here. July 2008, I went to Brighton and I went to a friend's gay wedding. And at that wedding, I met an older lady, and her name, this is very important, her name was Mammy Jenny.
Okay.
And she became my second mother.
Oh, wow.
So I met her in July 2008 at the wedding, and then my mother passed away on the 29th of November that same year.
Oh, no. That's crazy.
I know, but
it's like your mom went into this spiritually. Yeah, wow.
And she was a gift. She became my everything.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to go back to 2017.
Yeah.
And I've now gone down to the coast. Mammy and Jenny are now bestest. She's my mother. I call her my mammy, not my mother.
Okay.
Out of respect for my mum.
Sure.
So I call her Mammy.
Okay.
And I went to the coast on July the 8th, went to see her. And Buck, she had got me everything. Spring, summer, autumn, winter, wardrobe, bras, knickers, hosiery, everything. Not that I wear tights anymore, but then you can go back to my podcast and see why. I don't touch tights, thank you very much. I leave them alone.
Right on,
okay.
right on.
People see the connection, right? So, so she bought me the whole wardrobe, and so I'm down there that weekend, and we did fashion shows, and I was, you know, that weekend I went out for myself. It was the first time as Samantha. We went to a car boot sale. Mammy Jenny took me.
Oh my God.
God, it was so powerful, Buck, that weekend. And I remember like doing little modelling shots, and Mammy Jenny was taking the photographs, and I then came home on the Sunday with my dog on the train, and I came home on the train with Samantha.
Wow.
So 4
How
days.
did that feel? How did that feel to be out in the world as a woman for the kind of the first time?
Scary as get out, as Mammy Jenny would say. Scary as get out, because I'm not only leaving Mammy Jenny's home in Brighton, I'm not doing it locally. I've now got to get all the way home.
That's right.
Through to London, and then get home. So it was even more of a gambit, because it was almost like I've just thrown myself into it.
Yes.
So I can't stay indoors and hide. I've got to get home. I'm now dressed. She dropped me off.
Yes.
I'm getting on the train, so of course I'm shitting myself, Buck.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because I'm not looking around at who's looking at me, my friend said to me one of my friends said to me, because I said to her, what do I look like? Because I think in the early days you're seeking validation everywhere. Validate me.
Yeah.
Not anymore, because I always say now, you need to self-validate, don't seek it externally, seek it from within.
Right.
And then everything else will fall into place.
Yep.
So seeking it elsewhere is not a good thing, validation. Even though it does help, don't get me wrong, but it has to be genuine. It has to be genuine.
That's right.
So I don't like the word authentic, but I like genuine.
I know. Genuine.
Genuine's a new word. And that's what you are, Buck. You're genuine. Blair White is genuine,
Yep.
right? Marcus
Right
is genuine. That's it. So, yeah. So I then came home, and then that August. No, actually, it was the August. I had my first gender identity clinic appointment, and 28. It's very quick. I got on because I went to the first appointment dressed as a woman.
Wow.
So I didn't go dressed as a man. So I think I shaved some time off.
Of course. Yeah.
So, and within 2 years, I had my hormones. I had my blockers. I had my hormones.
Great.
And then 2020, on the 5th of November 2020, I go in for my surgery.
Wow.
Now, again, on the 5th of November in London is firework night.
Oh.
It's Guy Fawkes.
Okay.
And
Right.
we have lots of
Right.
fireworks.
Yeah.
We have lots of fireworks.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like very symbolic for me. So I had my surgery on the 5th of August. 5th of November, sorry. 5th of November.
Yeah. Right.
Sorry, 2021. And I woke up from my surgery and I didn't feel like a woman, Buck.
You're so awesome. I love you, dude.
Let's make that quite
Shocking.
clear. Right? I didn't feel like a woman. Did not feel like a woman. But my gender dysphoria, even though I knew I was like, what was going on was down there was recovering, right? My gender dysphoria had almost dissipated.
Right.
And I hadn't even seen it yet. But I
Yep.
knew that was gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yep.
And then 3 days later they came in and took the packing out, and then they got them and they sat me up in bed and they showed me it, and it was all like, what did I say? It was like I've been shot with a shotgun. but it was mine.
It's your wound.
It's my wound.
Oh my God,
Right.
you're so great.
It's my wound. So I looked here and I was on the morphine drip, wasn't I? I was like,
Yeah, right on. You're like happy.
I'm like, and I've got to tell you, Buck, I swear to God, because of the morphine, I've had worse paper cuts, Buck.
Oh, wow.
I swear to you. I've had worse paper cuts.
No kidding.
I swear.
No kidding.
And even to this day, and with regards to my surgery, and this is one thing I would say, I had this fantasy in my head, Buck, about what my surgery would be.
Sure.
Sure. And you don't get an examination because no one examines you bodily, autumnally, until you go to have your assessment for surgery. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know that I had a small penis, Buck.
Oh, wow.
And I was just thought I'd get inversion. I thought, okay, this is a naivety coming in now,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And not doing enough. You can do so much homework, but then you get a bit naive, right? Mm-hmm. And I will admit to that. Mm-hmm. I was a bit naive. So
Sure.
I went. When was my assessment? My assessment was done in. So I'm going back a bit now because
Yeah.
I think this is important to mention about what the fantasy having your head against reality.
That's right.
Right? Because when it does, reality bites, it bites, and it can be a bit sore, right? So I went to have my assessment, and I'll never forget it. I was up on the table, and he assessed me, and I'll never forget the look on his face, Buck. And he said, "Okay, yep, get changed." And I pulled back the curtain, sat down, and I looked at him, and I can't remember his name. And I said, "Doctor, just," he looked at me, and he said, "What?" And I said, "Just to say," I said, "Please don't play poker."
Oh, wow.
And I said, "What's the bad news?"
Wow.
And he had like a little dry laugh. And he said to me, "Okay, you've got two options. We can have two. You can't have inversion because your penis is too small."
Right. Right.
And I have to say, it was very cold in that office though that day. So that didn't help. They're going to put the central heating up a bit. It was like. I think my penis was inverted. I think it was scared. It was scared, Buck. I think it was turtling. It was turtling.
Well, maybe it was also scary because it was like, "Don't take me, don't take me."
Right. Well, listen, but there wasn't much to take, believe me. There wasn't much to take. They'd have been there 5 minutes. But so he said to me, "You've got two options. We can have two surgeons operating on you in tandem. So we'd have to use part of your colon, your bowel,
Wow.
and then you're going to have to. You might end up, and that could also only last a certain amount of time, and you could end up getting fistulas." Which we know is like excreting out of your vagina.
That's right.
And also when you use part of your bowel, which a lot of these trans kids end up having to have these surgeries.
I know.
Because they don't grow the penises because of the puberty blockers. Because you have to grow your winky to get an inversion.
Thank you.
Right? If you don't grow your winky, you're going to have to go have one of these surgeries. And this is why. And this is why it goes back to what was that? I Am Jazz.
That's right.
How many surgeries did she have to have?
A lot.
On her neo-vagina. A lot.
That's right.
Because she didn't grow a penis.
Yep.
And if he or she had done that,
That's right.
then they could have had inversion. But not everyone, because I've got a small penis. It's genetics, Buck. It's genetic.
Yeah, but you already know. But nothing was done to you. That's totally different.
No,
you just
that's different.
Have a naturally small penis.
That's it.
To actually do that to a child, this is why they're so full of shit, Samantha.
Right?
Because they're actually fucking these kids up by doing that. They're not helping them transition.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Wow.
Not at all. This is why we are so aligning with how we feel about the kids. And then we can talk about Big Pharma and so on. But
yeah, right on.
because it's like roping them in at an early age.
That's right.
So he said to me, "That's your options. Then he said to me, or you can have a labiaplasty, which we know is just cosmetic.
That's right.
So, I'm sitting there, taking all this information in. Inside, I'm dying. My dreams bubble just burst.
Yeah.
Okay, big time. I kept it together. He gave me my little pamphlet to take home, pros and cons, blah, blah, blah. And I'll never forget, the minute I stepped out of the Nuffield Hospital in Brighton, I stepped into that black taxi, Buck, and I swear to you, I didn't mutter a sound. The tears started.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I cried all the way home. In that black taxi. I cried all the way to Brighton train station in the taxi. I cried walking through the station. I cried all the way home on the train, quietly sobbing, quietly, just like tears just falling. I couldn't stop them, Buck. And I cried walking through London Bridge Station. I cried in the taxi all the way home. And I remember I got in my front door and I just slid down my front door back. And what I just done all the way home is grieved my vagina.
Oh, wow. Wow.
But the great thing about me, Buck, is I have an amazing ability to bounce back. And the next day I woke up, reality, and I'm like, okay. And I made my decision. It was a labiaplasty.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah. Because I got to tell you right now, I dodged a bullet, Buck.
I think so.
I dodged a bullet, 100 miles an hour, no dilations.
No.
None of that.
That's right.
No laser hair removal.
That's right.
Downstairs.
Yeah.
I can never have sex. Well, I can,
whatever that means. You can have intimacy, though.
I can have intimacy, right?
That's right. That's right.
But, and I say this as well, I didn't transition for sex. I didn't transition for a relationship. I transitioned for peace of mind, Buck.
Totally. That's such a
Peace of
powerful
mind.
statement. That's one of the most powerful things I have ever heard from a transsexual person. Peace of mind. It's not because you're going to give things up, people. Transition, you don't get everything. You actually there's things you're going to give up for the rest of your life, and these are one of the things you possibly will have.
Right.
But you may. I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, you made the right choice because I do know people who got that surgery, and it didn't work out for them on many levels, and also they were going to have to take another piece of your body out. What are the long-term effects of that? Yeah.
The kid. This is why I'm so against the kids, Buck, because I know they're using part of their bowel.
Oh my God.
Because that's the only option, or you can give them a labiaplasty. But how are you going to give them a future if you give them a labiaplasty, Buck? You can't. So your only option is to use part of the colon or the bowel. So all these kids are having that surgery. So can you imagine the amount of money by repeat surgeries, Buck?
There you go, money.
But more money.
But when you give them the puberty blockers, you already fuck their sexuality up. They already don't have sexual feelings. They already have no. So why are they even getting that surgery, the inversion? They should just be giving them the vaginoplasty, and they'll have, because they're not even going to have sex anyway because they just don't have sexual feelings.
Right.
I mean, there's so many insane, fucked up shit. It's like literally experimenting on kids. They are right in front of all of our eyes. They are experimenting on children, and everyone's just like, oh, this is so great. That's why your voice is so important, Samantha. It is, because I can't say that because I didn't have surgery. Thank God I didn't have surgery. That being said, I can't speak to what happened to you. And so do you have any issues with the vaginoplasty, or is it just that's how it is? Is there any medical?
Just how it is. No, I'll be honest with you, Buck. I had the surgery, and I've never even been back for a checkup.
Wow. Just wow.
Never. I remember I'd had the surgery and I never went back to the Wimbledon Parkside Hospital for a checkup. Yeah. Because I don't know. I couldn't be bothered, Buck, to be honest.
I hear you.
I felt fine. I only went to my doctor's once. Yeah. Because I thought I might have had an infection.
Sure.
And she looked at my my reconfigured penis.
Yeah.
And she looked, because it's not a vagina. Let's just say that right there. It's a reconfigured penis.
Right on.
Okay? It's not a vagina, people. Call it what you want. But I've done biology. I was very good at school.
Right on,
paid attention, So I listened, paid attention. So you can't talk me out of biology. You can't talk me down.
No.
Yeah,
No.
you can't talk me down.
You know, I heard you say in your interview with Liam that something really resonated with me. And you said, I'm a doll. And I was like, wow, this is literally, when they say save the dolls, I don't think that's what they mean, but it's literally what you are on some level. You are now a sort of doll, right? As I am.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Basically.
wow. Is that...
But you know, it's funny you say that. When I saw someone the other day mention dolls, I went, oh shit! Why did I have to say doll?
No, because you put it in perspective. All those wingnut trans activists, we're dolls. Like,
But
they're
I
so
am.
dumb. But you're an actual doll.
Yes. I mean,
really, yeah, right on.
You can rub me muff a little bit. I mean, but
Oh my God.
yeah, there's you might get about an inch of depth, you know. But so any small dick men out there, you know, hit me up. Or if you have,
You just created your own business, right there.
Well, I put my details in my bio.
You are so great.
So I've never kissed a man since 2010.
Oh wow, that's a long time. Why? You're so beautiful and so lovely and so. No, I'm not just saying that. I really do. You have such a great personality and you're so beautiful. And I mean, I can't imagine that just is it because you don't seek it? Do you think or?
Well, first of all, because the hormones. I have no sex drive. Zero sex drive.
Oh wow!
Since 2 years in.
Oh my God!
I've never had a sex drive. Like I said to Liam, I'd rather have a cup of tea, Buck.
So wait, so
Zero.
prior to the hormones, did you have a sex drive?
Yes.
Okay, and then when you probably started taking the hormones, and then you got the vaginoplasty, everything just went out the window.
Well, even before, I had zero sexual feelings because the hormones do that to you.
Of course,
Zero.
100% they do.
So no
Yes.
sexual feelings.
Right.
So yeah, but
Wow.
and then it goes back to like what I said to Liam about that part of the helmet is used as a clitoris.
That's right. Yeah.
And I didn't touch myself. And like I said in the podcast, I didn't touch myself
Yeah.
for 18 months, Buck. I couldn't. And I went to have a little, I call it a fiddle.
Sure.
I went to have a little fiddle and I felt kind of dirty. I felt kind of like, it felt precious to me. Not dirty, but I don't want to say dirty, that's wrong.
Yeah.
I felt like it was too precious to touch. I didn't want
I
to break
get it.
I didn't want to break anything.
Sure.
I was scared. I was scared.
Sure.
And then this year I had a few girlfriends around for a girls' night. And like I said in the interview, I wrote on the invitation, those with fannies only.
Genius.
I'll get in trouble now because it's not a fanny, is it? Those with
God.
those with and rejigged penises welcome.
Oh my God, it's so good.
but that night, some of the girls and I sat on the couch, and they said to me, "Samantha, have you not had like a little go?" And I said, "No, I haven't. I truly haven't." So, I don't know, that week I got the moisture lotion out, and I had a little
Yeah, great.
a little rub off,
Great.
and it worked, but it was different.
Sure.
It's different.
Sure.
I can't explain. It's different. It's not the same. It's different, but
course
it
not.
works. But
Wow.
but it's still. I've only ever done it twice. I think 3 times since. But it's not.
Just because you don't have this craving.
I don't.
No, I totally get it. It's like women going through menopause. A lot of women in menopause, they lose their sexual drive because hormones are all whacked out and all over the place. Hormones are, I mean, for me,
They're
because
powerful.
I take testosterone, which is an actually sexual sort of space, it did heighten my sexual space.
Right.
There's no doubt about it. But that being said, if my hormones are off, I don't have that sexual drive anymore. But when I use the testosterone, I can feel that. You have no.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your hormones. So are you still taking estrogen or
Every day. Every day.
Every day.
For
day.
the rest of my life.
That's right. Me too. Yeah.
Because what happens if I don't take my estrogen? what do they say? You throw yourself into like a menopausal state, I guess.
That's right. That's right.
So, and then I noticed it because sometimes I'll forget and I'll go like,
yeah.
oh shit, I haven't done my hormones for 4 days because I
That's
get
right.
tied up with life.
No,
And
totally.
I use topicals. They're gels.
Okay,
And they
great.
soak into my skin. So
Yes, yes.
And then I forget to do them because I might think,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to wear a dress later, and it might stick to my dress, so I don't do it. You know, so I'm like, it's so stupid reason why I don't do my hormones. It's so ridiculous. But that's what you do. That's the life you live. That's what you choose when you do this
Are
journey.
you on? Are you also taking any testosterone, or you only take estrogen? Did they talk to you about that, or I mean, it doesn't seem like anything is.
Well,
bothering.
you say that. They did say to me, my doctor said, did I want any hormones to give me more sex drive? And I said,
Right.
I said, no. Well, I haven't got a partner, Buck. I haven't got a partner. And
Yeah,
actually,
I hear you.
and back to that, actually, in your very kind words, I mean, I said to my friend recently, I think I'm ready.
Great.
Because I want to have a companion, Buck.
Yes.
I don't necessarily. I want a companion. I don't want some other sex. That's secondary to me now.
Yes.
And we can do many other things besides that. But I think I'm mentally ready now
Yeah.
to have a companion.
Oh, beautiful.
We'll see how that pans out. But I don't know. But it's going to take a lot. Because I said to a girlfriend of mine, I have got such a wall up around my heart now. Because when you transition, I so don't want to be someone's science project, Buck.
I hear you.
And I'm scared about giving my heart over. But I said to my friend, if I don't do it, I'm going to end up alone. And I don't, there's nothing wrong with that if that's your thing, but part of me inside doesn't want that anymore. And I've changed and I feel like there's someone out there for everybody, Buck. I believe it. And you've got to put yourself out
100%.
there. Yeah. And I see people and I think, God, maybe yeah, so I'm ready for that now. My mindset has changed. I'm not sexual, but I'm mentally ready to have a partner.
A relationship that, you know,
A
that's the
relationship.
thing is you had to grow enough. And also, you're so smart. You took care of yourself. This is what I also say in transition. I really think it's a very solo venture.
Yes.
You should
All
if
the
you
way.
have if you have a partner when I transitioned my partners, I had a couple, they left me, they couldn't handle it. I transitioned all on my own. For years I didn't have a partner. It was the best thing I ever did because I got solid in my own space.
100%.
But I think for you, it's the same thing. It took you whatever amount of time it took you. Now you're going to put it into the universe. And I do believe there's somebody for everybody. And you're putting it out. It's going to, there's no doubt. And as you being more visual in the world and you deserve an amazing partner. Anyone would be lucky to have you. I just have to say that. So no, I'm not saying that just to be a nice guy because I'm not a nice guy. I'm an asshole.
Well, I don't see that, but
Well, I am. So, but that being said, I just think it's beautiful. Your story is so beautiful, and you have to do things when the time is right. And I think what your story says to me and to young people that I hope will see this is that it takes time.
it takes time. And also, life is about timing, Buck.
Oh my God, it's so
about
true.
life is about timing.
Oh my
And we
God.
also have to go back to remembering that the brain doesn't fully develop till 21, right?
come no
and
one's saying
later,
that?
and later in males, and then also, like I said, and because of men generally mature later, don't they? Right?
Yeah, that's
Scientifically,
true. That's
right?
true.
So,
That's
and also
true.
the brain doesn't fully suture together till you're 25.
I mean,
So-
there's so many medical reasons why nobody
Right.
should be even touching medication or surgery. So they're doing surgery on 16-year-old, mostly girls. You know that, Samantha. Mostly
I
girls
know
are
the
taking
rise,
the
the increase. But I can't believe the increase in America.
fucking insane.
These little girls. I mean, do you know what I say? And I did write a note down about this because I said to myself, and I thought about this in depth. I feel this trans ideology is part of the destruction of the West.
I agree.
It's like the emasculation of the West.
I agree.
Like
I agree.
take all the and all like saying all these men toxic. What do they call it?
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah, yeah. They, right, trying to turn women against men. It's such crap.
Oh, it's so
right?
true. Yep.
Such crap. Like men can't be men. Right?
Yep.
I just think,
Yep.
and women ask the demands of what they ask of men these days.
Oh, my
And
God.
What are they bringing to the table? They want a man to earn like 100,000 minimum a year. They want him to do this and that,
Disgusting.
and they just bring in what to the table?
I know. It's so sad.
Good luck-
No, you're
good luck
right.
with that.
They pitted us against each other. The whole trans movement is
whole thing.
misogyny. It's misogyny. It's woman hating. I don't understand why anyone would want to be a woman and turn around and talk shit to a woman. Like, are you insane? And then people don't understand why I stick up for women. I'm a fucking woman, people. I'm a female. Are you insane? I would never turn my back on where I came from. That is sick. When people turn their back on where they come from, like I come from the LGB community, as you do.
Yep.
We came from the homosexual
23
community.
years. 23 years I did in it.
That's right. So what? We're not
Right.
going to turn our back on them.
No.
They're gay men. I have to tell you, gay men were the reason that helped me transition. They're
They're the OGs. They're the OGs, Buck.
That's right.
They're the OGs. They done all the work. They did all the work for everything that came after it. So all those people that go, I hate the word queer, Buck. I can't stand the word.
I hate it. I hate it.
Do you know when I was a kid, that word demonised me.
I know.
I go, you're such a queer, you're such a queer. And I'm like,
I know.
But it's like people reclaiming the N word. I can't even stand that.
I know.
Why
It's
would you
actually
reclaim such a word?
disgusting.
I can't bear it.
It's so gross.
So yeah, so I that's why I say the LGB, and we align on this.
Yes.
The LGB should split from the T.
100%.
Because it's doing you damage.
100%.
Doing you damage.
Done.
You go, no, everyone hating the LGB now. Why?
Because
I
they
love the
got
LG
stuck into it.
Right?
And that's the thing. Whenever they talk
became-
about trans rights, they talk about LGBTQIA people. I'm like,
Right?
leave everyone else out of it. It's trans. This has and queer and non-binary. You motherfuckers go over here, and I'm going to hang out with the homos. Because the homos are the cool people.
They're not cranks. They're not cranks. And they know who they are. This is why I love the LGB community. Because they know who they are.
That's
I'd rather
right.
stand with them.
Me too.
And walk into a place where everyone knows who they are.
That's
as
right.
And this is why I don't understand the trans thing. Because, and I'll say this to you, Buck, and I said it the other night. If one of my kids came home and said they were trans, do you know what I'd do? I'll slap him on the back of the leg and I'd say, go upstairs and don't you come down until you tell me you're lesbian or gay. Right? Because they know who they are.
Right on.
That's what I'd say to my kids.
That's
and
right.
Then the social services would be on to me.
Oh, I know. We have the same here. They can take your kid away.
Right?
They take your kid away. You can beat the shit out of your kid.
Right.
You can burn them with cigarettes. But if you misgender them, they're going to take
Right.
you away from them.
It's
so
crazy.
pathetic.
It's
no, I
crazy.
same way. I talked to the kid about the bullshit non-binary. I already taught him that's bullshit.
Yes.
There's none of that shit has happened. He knows I'm a transsexual, but we don't talk about it. He says you're a real transsexual. And I'm like, that's right, buddy.
Right.
And then we don't have to talk about it, okay? It's all good. Like, it's a medical thing. You do it as an adult.
Right.
We've talked about it maybe once or twice. That's it. We don't talk about it. I just want him to be informed that it's all bullshit and that he knows it's bullshit now. And I'm like, nope, these kids are not trans. Somebody's doing this shit to them. So everyone just heard your story. Why in hell would anyone want a child to go through all of this? Why? You've got to let a kid figure themselves out.
You have to. It's important. This is why I always say puberty is a rite of passage.
That's right.
You have to do it.
That's
as
right.
much as comfortable as it may feel
right.
for you. And I'm sorry if you are truly going through it, but believe me, once you go through your puberty and you just find where you lie, I always say find your poison, but I mean, you're going to swing somewhere on that spectrum and it's okay to be gay. Actually, it's preferential. It's preferential to be gay, lesbian. It's fine. You're beautiful as you are.
Oh my God.
You are so beautiful. And you would be so more loved, respected and admired if you stood in your true truth instead of saying you're authentic being trans. Because I'm telling you right now, you're not authentic being trans because it's all a lie. It's a smokescreen. It's a mirage. It's not true. Right. Wake up, you fools. Right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you know what I want to say another, and I'm going to mention her, Megan Fox.
Okay.
How can you have 4 trans kids?
God.
How can you have, I saw something of her the other day, she is a prick, right? Total prick.
Totally.
Talking about her kids and dresses the other day. I was like, what are you, this is the thing, I always say it, Buck. Right? I always used to say, when did the adults leave the room?
That's right.
And they never did, Buck. They never did.
No.
They're buying the dresses. They're doing it all.
They're doing it all.
They're
They're
doing
doing
it all.
it.
They're
No,
doing it all.
it's the adults leading the kids down this fucking path. The sick, weirdo adults and the sick parents who are doing this to their children. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Your 2-year-old is trans?
How is that possible?
Child, that's when the child needs to be snatched from those parents.
I
like,
agree.
What?
I agree.
Like, it's actually so insane. So, yeah, say I live in L.A. and Hollywood, every fucking Hollywood person.
Hollywood.
They all have a trans kid. Literally, everyone has a trans. Like, it's a puppet or like it's a pet. Like, it's your pet
Put on
dog.
display, right?
Totally.
Oh, God.
Like,
It's
no one
just
ever
sickening.
did that. When people had a gay kid, okay, no one ever was like, "Yoo-hoo, I have a gay kid." Nobody
Yeah, they weren't
ever.
parading them about, were they?
That's right.
They were
No.
hiding. They were hiding them.
That's right, which also isn't good. But at the
No,
same
it's
time,
not. It's not good.
At the same time, people aren't parading around their child like, my kid has autism, my kid has diabetes, my kid. You're like, what are you doing to your kid and putting them on the internet? And like, we live in such a sick society. It is so. It blows my mind, Samantha, what happened to our society and how fucking off the wall we are now.
But also that goes on to, we can also touch on Transhausen now.
Oh,
that's
God.
A new, that's
That's
a new
a thing.
That's
That's
a
a
thing.
thing.
Because, you know,
That's a thing.
I always say this, I'm so glad, because kids only know what they know, right?
That's right.
So if you're telling, if a kid doesn't say they're trans, you've put that into that kid's head.
Bam.
Right? You told that kid they're trans. You told that little boy or girl that they were the opposite sex. You're doing it all.
Yep.
Why? These kids need to be taken away by to switch from social services to go the other way. Take the kids away from the parents because they're doing the damage. And Buck, we have got work to do.
We have so much work to
We have
do,
got
and
work to
we
do.
are going to build an organization, and me and you are going to start traveling
we are.
and having a conversation with people and sitting these kids down and saying, chill the fuck out, your mom is lying to you. Everyone's lying to you.
They're all lying to you. They're all
everyone.
lying to you.
The medical association, it's got to be money, Samantha. I can't
course
imagine
it's
why
money.
anyone else would do something so absurd. Like, it's got to be money.
There's nothing else. It's only Big Pharma are behind it.
Yep.
Government are tied in somehow.
Somehow.
With you've got diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's just the waters are murky, muddy, and there's something deep, dark, and insidious behind it, Buck. And I can't.
It's
put
evil.
my finger on it.
It's evil.
It's evil. It's evil.
It's evil. I do believe it's an evil entity. I know I sound crazy, but it has to be some
it's not
evil
crazy.
force that has gotten into. Because I'm a logical person. I also want everybody to be happy. I'm also really very open about everything, okay? And I don't understand, my fucking brain can't get around how people could be so easily influenced to think that a child... And also, you know, before we go here, I just want to say this. You're lying to your child. You don't change your sex. Samantha is still a male, and I am still a female. And you are lying to your child. So when they grow up and they realize that, whoops, I didn't change my sex, who's going to be responsible for that? Not you and I, because we were like, hello, like, you're not. You're still a man, and I'm still a woman.
That's it.
That's reality.
That's it. I mean, I'll be honest with you. If somebody misgenders me, Buck, I don't care.
I know. That's
but
awesome. That's it right there.
But it generally
That's
happens.
it.
Do you know what it happens?
Of course.
It happens when I open my mouth.
Well, yeah, because, well, I don't know why, because you have a deep voice, but it sounds like you're a smoker. It doesn't sound like you're a man. It sounds like that. I love that sound. It's raspy and sexy. I don't know. It doesn't sound like a man to me at all.
It's funny about your voice, because you always get in your own head.
That's right. That's right.
It's really, because I did a tiny little bit of voice therapy coaching.
Sure.
Because you have to learn to talk from the front of your mouth.
Yes.
Not the back of your throat.
Right.
Because if I talk from the back of my throat, do you know what I mean? Hello, Buck, how you doing? All right.
Right
So
on.
but because I've now been talking this way for so long,
Right.
it's now become almost hard for me to do the deep.
Yeah, no, because you trained yourself.
Yeah, it's been what? 2017?
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
That's why you sound so, like, for me, people always talk about my voice. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I have a high voice. I sound like a 16-year-old
No, you don't, but to me,
boy.
you sound like a man. You don't sound like a 16-year-old boy.
I think because...
I think we're in our own heads, Buck, about it.
We do. And also when people say, I can tell that you're used to be a woman, like, people say that shit all the fucking time. You know,
That's
they just love
bullshit.
to poke at you. But it just, you and I are mature adults now. We don't give a fuck. We're not doing this for anybody but ourselves. It's literally what it does. I don't give a fuck.
Teflon. Non-stick.
And that's the thing that's great about going through everything that you went through. You actually grew thick skin. And the thick skin has helped you become a better human.
Stick as a pig, Buck. Stick as a pig.
But I also think you've been chosen. I think it took all this work to get here for this time and this day, and now your work begins. You worked on yourself, and now your time to give back to the universe. And I think you have been chosen to be a part of this crusade to save. I mean, again, I think you and I both agree. Go ahead and do whatever the fuck you want as an adult. But we will not stand for the children being put in this space. We won't.
Yep. Do what you want. Leave the kids alone.
That's
right?
all it is.
That's
So you've been chosen. That's right. I agree.
I'll do something. I agree with you, because I said to my brother the other day, I said, whatever is going on with me right now, and because I said, whatever is going on, I said, I'm leaning into it because I feel I've got a calling, and I'm doing what I'm doing, and I can't shut my mouth.
Don't.
And I'm not going to shut my mouth.
Don't.
No matter what you do, no matter what you say, you're not going to shut me down. Because when my girlfriends, who are heterosexual, cannot say that a woman can have a penis, right? I've got a problem with that. When they feel they can't say it. And I'm like, oh my God, they got to you as well.
Yeah.
It infuriates me.
I know.
So I've had to come out of my place of hiding, not even hiding, of anonymity. I've had to come out of anonymity because I have to speak up for women, right? Because they can't have a voice, or they feel trapped because they're all becoming transphobic, which is not true. They're not transphobic.
No.
They're just stating biology, and then they all get cancelled. They lose their jobs. Well, I'm speaking about myself, and you can't come for me. You can't come for me. That's why it's been so quiet on the front. And they're probably going to come on here today and leave comments or whatever. But you can't come for me. You can't hurt me, because I know who I am. And you trans folk are fake. You're not real. You've got to do the work. Otherwise, everything else is just nonsense. And I'm not buying into it. I'm done.
Bam. And that's it, everybody. Leave the comments all you want. They're actually, you expose yourself. I get very few hate comments anymore, Samantha, because we've built this amazing rapport with the rest of the world. You and I want to belong to the world. That's why most of my followers happen to be women and men who don't care. They're not trans. They're not LGBT. They want to be with us, too. They want to accept that we have this situation. And me and you are willing to be honest to them. That's all they ask. Just be honest. And just be real. And leave the fucking kids alone, and we're good. We're actually really good here.
Genuine all day long. Genuine all day long.
Right on. So no one's going to probably even leave any hate comments, to be honest with you. They're going to be
like,
I love you.
Anyway.
Exactly. So thank you, Samantha, for taking time out of your evening, I think it is over there. And,
it is.
I can't wait to come and visit and hang out with you. And
I look forward to it, Bob.
And I really do love you. I do. In my heart, I love you so much, and I feel we've been put together for a reason, and this is the universe working powerfully. So
I agree.
Leave great comments for Samantha, everybody. Please appreciate everything she's done and she's doing for us. And together, we're going to save these kids from this bullshit.
We are. We've got work to do.
And,
we've got work to do. I love you, Buck, so much.
Thanks, friend.